Hey there, fellow car enthusiasts and gearheads, Dr. Cool here, and today we're diving deep into the mysterious world of the check engine light. We all know that sinking feeling when that little orange beacon of doom illuminates our dashboards, right? It's enough to make you think the worst, but hold your horses. That check engine light ain't always telling the whole truth. Sometimes it's just a big fat liar. Now I'm not saying you should ignore it completely. In this video, I'm going to reveal 20 sneaky reasons why your cell might be lying to you and more importantly, how to handle these situations like a pro. Let's get this show on the road. The most common culprit behind a check engine light is a loose or damaged gas cap. It seals the fuel system, preventing harmful fumes from escaping. If it's loose, cracked, or missing, it can trigger the cell. Your car's computer sees that as an emissions issue. Before you panic, check that gas cap. Make sure it's tight. If it's loose, tighten it. If it's damaged, replace it. It's a cheap fix that could save you trouble. If the CL turns off, case closed. Now let's talk about those pesky sensors. Your car is loaded with these little guys monitoring everything from oxygen levels to engine temperature. But here's the thing. Sensors can be fickle little beasts. They can get dirty, wear out, or just plain malfunction, sending faulty signals to the computer. And when that happens, guess what? The check engine light rears its ugly head. You'll need a trusty OBD2 scanner to read the error codes and pinpoint the culprit. Once you've identified the faulty sensor, replacing it is usually a straightforward process. Now let's talk about those mysterious electrical gremlins that love to wreak havoc on our cars. Modern vehicles are practically rolling computers on wheels, with complex wiring harnesses and sensitive electronics. These glitches can be caused by a variety of factors from loose connections to voltage fluctuations. If your cell turns on and then turns off after a short while, it was probably just a temporary glitch. However, if that cell stays on or keeps coming back, it's time to investigate further. In these cases, it's best to consult a qualified mechanic who can diagnose the problem and get those electrical gremlins under control. Now this next one might seem like a no-brainer, but you'd be surprised how often it happens, putting the wrong fuel in your car. Putting diesel in a gasoline engine or vice versa is a recipe for disaster. It can cause all sorts of problems, from poor engine performance to serious damage to your fuel system. And you guessed it, it can also trigger that dreaded check engine light. If you made the mistake of putting the wrong fuel in, don't start the engine. Call a tow truck and have your car transported to a mechanic. Remember folks, paying attention at the pump can save you a whole lot of trouble and expense down the road. What does a weak battery have to do with the check engine light? That little battery powers essential electrical components, including the computer that controls the cell. As it ages, it loses charge, disrupting electricity flow and causing false check engine lights. Notice dimming headlights or slow cranking? Get that battery tested. Replacing it is an easy fix that can solve many problems, including the check engine light. Alright folks, let's talk about those times when Mother Nature decides to mess with our cars. Extreme weather conditions like scorching heat, freezing cold, or excessive humidity can trick your car's sensors. These conditions can cause sensors to malfunction. Usually these issues are temporary. Once the weather normalizes, the sensors should work properly again. If you experience rough idling or loss of power, have your car checked by a mechanic. Now this one's for all you gearheads out there who love to tinker with your cars. Aftermarket parts can sometimes have unintended consequences, like triggering that pesky check engine light. Your car's computer is calibrated for factory components. Swapping parts can upset that balance. Double-check compatibility and installation. You might need a professional recalibration. Alright folks, remember those fickle sensors we talked about earlier? Well, sometimes they just need a little time out. They might experience a temporary glitch or malfunction, sending erroneous signals to the car's computer. The good news is that these temporary sensor hiccups usually resolve themselves on their own. If you suspect a temporary sensor malfunction, the first thing you should do is try the old turn it off and on again trick. Disconnect your car's battery for a few minutes, then reconnect it. This will reset the car's computer and hopefully clear any temporary glitches. If the CL turns off after the reset, you're good to go. Even your car's computer can have software bugs. Your car's ECU relies on software to function properly. Sometimes that software can have glitches causing a false check engine light. Manufacturers update software to fix bugs and improve performance. Check with your dealer for software updates if you suspect a bug. You rely on your OBD2 scanner for accurate car diagnostics, but what if it's faulty? It's like diagnosing with a broken thermometer. Faulty scanners give inaccurate codes, causing unnecessary stress. Try a different scanner, or visit a trusted mechanic. Invest in a reliable OBD2 scanner. You've fixed your car, but the check engine light is still on. The car's computer needs a reset to clear the error codes. Use an OBD2 scanner or visit a mechanic to reset it. Let's talk about a situation that can send shivers down any car owner's spine: overheating. When your engine starts to overheat, it's a serious issue that should never be ignored. Sometimes a brief spike in engine temperature might trigger the check engine light. This can happen due to a temporary loss of coolant or a faulty thermostat. If the temperature gauge creeps up, don't panic. Pull over safely and let the engine cool down. Once cooled, check the coolant level and look for leaks. Spark plugs ignite the air-fuel mixture powering your car. Over time, they wear out, reducing spark strength. This leads to misfires, poor performance, and the check engine light. Rough idling or decreased fuel economy. Check your spark plugs. Replacing them is simple and boosts engine performance. It might even turn off that pesky check engine light. Just like you need clean air to breathe, your engine needs a steady supply of fresh air to function properly. That's where the air filter comes in. It acts as your engine's lungs, trapping dirt, dust, and other contaminants before they can enter the combustion chamber. However, over time, the air filter can become clogged with debris, restricting airflow to the engine. When the engine doesn't get enough air, it can't burn fuel efficiently, leading to reduced power, poor acceleration, and yes, you guessed it, the check engine light. If it's dirty, clogged, or discolored, it's time for a replacement. Fuel additives are a double-edged sword. They can clean injectors, reduce emissions, and improve fuel economy. But some additives can trigger the check engine light, especially if they're not compatible with your car's engine. They can interfere with sensors, causing faulty signals. If the check engine light appears after using an additive, it might be the culprit. Wait for the tank to run low, then fill up with fresh, high-quality fuel. Water and electronics don't mix, and your car's electrical system is no exception. Moisture intrusion can wreak havoc on sensors, connectors, and wiring harnesses, leading to all sorts of electrical gremlins, including a false check engine light. This is especially true after heavy rain, flooding, or even a thorough car wash. If you suspect moisture might be the culprit behind your cell, the first thing you should do is visually inspect all the sensors and connectors in the engine bay. Look for any signs of water damage, corrosion, or loose connections. Once everything is dry, reconnect any loose connections and start the engine. Your engine relies on a complex system of vacuum hoses to control everything from emissions to brake assist. These hoses create a vacuum, which is used to regulate various components under the hood. Now, over time, vacuum hoses can crack, split, or become disconnected, creating vacuum leaks. When a vacuum leak occurs, it can disrupt the engine's air-fuel mixture, leading to rough idling, hesitation, reduced engine performance, and yes, you guessed it, the dreaded check engine light. One telltale sign is a hissing sound coming from the engine bay, especially when the engine is idling. Another clue is if the engine idles roughly or stalls when you come to a stop. Bad gas or contaminated fuel is more common than you think. It can contain water, dirt, rust, or other impurities that wreak havoc on your engine. Signs include rough idling, stalling, and decreased fuel economy. It can also trigger the check engine light. Stop driving immediately if you suspect bad gas. Have the bad gas drained and your fuel system flushed. The thermostat is a small but mighty component that plays a crucial role in regulating your engine's operating temperature. It acts as a valve, controlling the flow of coolant to the engine. When the engine is cold, the thermostat remains closed, allowing the engine to warm up quickly. Once the engine reaches its optimal operating temperature, the thermostat opens, allowing coolant to circulate and prevent overheating. However, like any other mechanical component, thermostats can fail. A stuck thermostat can cause all sorts of problems, including overheating, poor heater performance, and yes, even a false check engine light. Let's face it, folks, some cars are just more sensitive than others. They're like the drama queens of the automotive world, throwing a fit over the slightest little thing, and sometimes that drama manifests itself in the form of a check engine light, even when there's no real problem to speak of. This can happen for a variety of reasons. Maybe the manufacturer set the thresholds for certain sensors a little too low, or perhaps your car's computer is just having a bad day. Whatever the reason, an overly sensitive system can be a real pain in the neck. So there you have it, folks. 20 sneaky reasons why your check engine light might be lying to you. Remember, that little light is helpful but not always accurate. Now you're armed with knowledge to separate real problems from false alarms. Don't let that check engine light intimidate you. Save time, money, and stress by understanding these causes. Keep your car in shape and it'll keep you rolling. Drive safe and I'll catch you in the next video.